1959, 9 experienced hikers set out to cross the remote Ural Mountains in Soviet Russia. They were young, skilled, and well prepared for extreme winter conditions. Their journey was meant to be challenging but not deadly. None of them ever returned. Weeks later, rescue teams finally located their campsite at what would later be called Dyatlov Pass. The scene they discovered was deeply unsettling. The group's tent was still standing, partially buried in snow, but something was terribly wrong. The fabric had been sliced open from the inside, as if the hikers had fled in a sudden panic. There were no signs of a struggle, no evidence of another group, no footprints suggesting an attack. Instead, investigators found a single line of footprints leading away from the tent. Some barefoot, others wearing only socks, vanishing into the frozen wilderness under temperatures far below zero. The bodies were discovered over several days. Some hikers were found near a forest, wearing little more than underwear. Others were located weeks later in a ravine, buried beneath snow. Several had severe internal injuries, crushed ribs, fractured skulls, yet their skin showed no external wounds that could clearly explain the damage. The Soviet investigation offered a chilling conclusion. The hikers, they claimed, did it all. Unknown, compelling force. The case was closed without a clear explanation. Files were sealed, rumors spread, and questions remained unanswered. Decades later, the Dyatlov Pass incident continues to haunt researchers and storytellers alike. Was it a rare natural phenomenon, a secret military test, or something far more disturbing that forced 9 people to abandon their shelter in absolute terror? What do you think really happened on that mountain? In January 20th, a 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa Lem checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. She was traveling alone, documenting her journey online, and appeared cheerful to friends and family. The hotel itself had a long and troubled history, but for Elisa, it was simply a temporary place to stay. No one imagined that this trip would become one of the most discussed mysteries of the modern internet era. After a few days, Eliza stopped contacting her family, which immediately raised concern. A missing person report was filed, and police began searching the hotel and surrounding area. Guests remembered seeing her acting reserved but polite. Nothing seemed alarming at first. There were no signs of struggle, no clear witnesses, and no indication that she planned to disappear. Soon after, guests at the Cecil Hotel began reporting unusual problems with the water. Faucets ran dark, water pressure dropped, and the taste seemed strange. Maintenance staff were sent to investigate the source. What they found on the rooftop would shock the entire world and turn a missing person case into a global mystery. Inside one of the rooftop water tanks, authorities discovered Elisa's body. The tank had been difficult to access, and reports suggested it was locked. How she managed to reach the rooftop alone remained unclear. There was no clear evidence of another person involved, yet the circumstances felt deeply unsettling to many. What truly captured global attention was the elevator surveillance video released by police. In the footage, Elisa appears disoriented. She presses multiple buttons, steps in and out, and gestures towards something unseen. The elevator doors remain open longer than expected, adding to the strange atmosphere. No one else appears in the frame. Although authorities later ruled the case an accident, public fascination never faded. Millions continue to analyze the footage, debating what truly happened in Eliza Lamb's final moments. Whether coincidence, misunderstanding, or something unexplained, the Cecil Hotel remains a symbol of unanswered questions and a reminder that some stories refuse to be forgotten. On Christmas Eve, 1945, a sudden fire consumed the Sauter family home in Fayetteville, West Virginia. The flames spread rapidly through the wooden structure, lighting up the quiet winter night. George and Jenny Sauter woke in panic, desperately trying to save their children as the house collapsed around them. By the time the fire was extinguished, the home was reduced to ashes, and a chilling mystery had begun. George and Jenny escaped with 4 of their children, but 5 were missing. Maurice, Martha, Luis, Jenny, and Betty. Fire officials quickly concluded the children had died in the blaze. However, the Sauters were immediately troubled by this explanation. Something about that night did not make sense, and their grief soon turned into doubt. As they said, investigators searched the ashes but found no bones, no skulls, and no trace of the children. Experts later stated that even intense fires usually leave remains behind, adding to the suspicion. Witnesses claimed the fire spread far too quickly. Some neighbors even reported seeing a strange vehicle near the house earlier that night. In the months that followed, reports began to surface from other states. People claimed to have seen children matching the Sauter kids, descriptions alive, and traveling with unfamiliar adults. One waitress said she served them breakfast the morning after the fire. Each sighting deepened the mystery and strengthened the family's belief that their children survived. Years later, the family received an unmarked envelope in the mail. Inside was a photograph of a young man who closely resembled their missing son, Louis. Written on the back were strange symbols and no explanation. There was no return address. For the Sauters, it was both a glimmer of hope and a new source of torment. The Sauter case gained national attention, becoming one of America's most haunting unsolved mysteries. Despite investigations, theories, and decades of searching, no definitive answers ever emerged. Were the children victims of the fire or taken during the chaos of that night? George and Jenny Sauter searched for the truth for the rest of their lives.